Say go live.
Where's my hammer?
Shoot,
Don't worry about it.
I can get it.
No,
Right here.
no.
He's got a pen.
Yeah.
Fine. Oh, thank you.
Got it. We are now live on YouTube
Yay.
and we are now board.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Start with roll call tonight.
Beth Campbell,
Present.
Joan Cooley. Absent. Christina Minetti,
It is
Connecting.
connecting.
She's connecting to audio.
okay, she's connecting right now, and Glenn Spieth.
Hello.
Hi, Christina. You have quorum.
Any changes to the agenda or do we accept as is?
That's good. No changes.
Okay. Approval of minutes for the 9th through the 23rd. We have a quorum tonight, so I guess we can approve them. We only have what, one set?
No, there's two.
There's two.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. February 9th minutes. We have any comments or changes? I don't remember seeing any.
I don't have any changes for February minutes.
Okay, well, those were not approved at the time. Guess I'll
Call for motion.
call for a motion.
I move to approve the February minutes as is.
Guess I'll second it. Yes, Christina wants to.
You're gonna have to talk louder. I don't
Yeah,
think she can hear
speak
you.
louder.
I could hear everybody stay really well.
Okay, good.
Okay, you want to make a second on the February 9th minutes?
You didn't hear me? I said I'll second that.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
I didn't hear you. So moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Okay. Those are approved. March 23rd minutes. We have a
I didn't have anything to change.
you want to,
I move to accept the March minutes as they are.
Christina, you want to second the March meeting minutes?
I'll second.
Okay, she seconded.
Right?
Okay. Been moved and seconded. We accept the March minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, so those are done.
Okay.
Any announcements tonight?
Announcements.
No announcements? Let's sign the second set of minutes, but that's out of the way. Okay. 2 sets of minutes have been approved and signed.
Thank you.
Next item is public comments. Do you have any comments to make tonight? Okay, no public comments tonight, unless there's some online. Not
Would you
hearing
have
any.
any general comments?
Okay, and we have a public hearing tonight. The Boatman Amesworth House solar panel certificate of appropriateness, not appreciativeness. Okay. We'll open the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. The purpose of this hearing for the Landmarks and Heritage Board is to hear testimony and take action regarding the construction of solar panels, associated equipment with the Boatman Amesworth historical property. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. If you're attending in person, please sign in to speak. If you are attending over Zoom, please raise your hand to speak. The order of speaking will be staff statement from the applicant, public comments, then final questions and responses from the board. Continuing on, I would like to introduce Josh Kavitsa, Associate Planner for the Development Services staff, to provide the staff presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Let me bring up my PowerPoint. Share screen. And I just want to make sure, Christina, can you see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay, great. Okay. Slideshow. Okay. Right. So as the chair said, we're here for the Bowman Ainsworth solar installation, which is a type 2 certificate of appropriateness. On the screen, you have a picture from the applicant of the house, kind of existing or as it kind of currently is, and an aerial shot from our GIS. The main house being this location here where the cursor is. The main 112th is right here to the north. So the project is to place 13 south-facing solar panels on the roof. The solar panels are approximately 3.5 by 5 3/4 feet wide each. The solar panels and brackets will extend a little less than 8 inches higher than the roof. The associated equipment will be placed on the rear of the structure. You can see the various numbers back here for different equipment. The solar panels are here on the roof below to the south, so it's south facing. This is to go back here. They're right here where my cursor is, right above the 6,000 address is where the proposed solar panels will be located. Here's a couple of images from what the solar panels would look like. A side view showing approximately 8 inches in total, 6 inches gap for the brackets, and about 1.4 inches for the actual solar panel, and then how the solar panels are connected. The history of the site is designated as a city landmark in 2002 by LM. The landmark nomination application statement regarding roof, siding, and rear expansion stated that the roof is entirely clad with wood shingles. Thought to have been applied sometime in the 1940s, and the house was achieved with grooved horizontal siding. Around 1939, the original rear kitchen was expanded by 12 feet. LHAB has adopted the Secretary of Interior's standards of treatment of historic properties for use in reviewing and making decisions regarding certificate of appropriateness applications. Specifically, criteria 2, 9, and 10 apply to the placement of solar panels. Below, I've just kind of just summarized just those criteria. Criteria 2 is the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historical materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided and would have least intrusion to the historical character of the property. Criteria 9 is new additions, exterior alterations, or related new constructions shall not destroy historical materials that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historical integrity of the property and environment. Criteria 9, the new additions and adjacent or related new construction shall be undertaken in such a manner that if removed, the central form and interior of the historical property environment shall be unimpaired. The staff provided a summary of the findings in the staff report, but on the screen I provided a shorter summary of that. The proposal will result in exterior alteration in the fact that these solar panels will have to be installed on the roof. But the existing roof is made, materials is made of asphalt and composite materials and is no longer the historic features of wooden shingles. We are unsure when that has actually changed. There was no documentation that we had of when that change was made. So as it stands currently, the placement and alteration of the roof wouldn't be altering any historical feature. The solar panel equipment is located in sites appropriately to compatible with historical property and its environment. Primarily that's south facing. You can't see it from the roadway, and it's hidden by the structure itself. And it appears to be no direct impact to the historical house or exterior features. If the solar panels and the structure container was removed in its future, the form and interior of the property would be unimpaired. So while the roof might need to be repaired for being the panels being removed, those are again not historical features, and if they are ever removed, though, all their repair would be needed. So staff finds that the proposed project is compliant with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation and recommends the board's approval. Some additional information that you might want to know is that they have submitted a residential solar building permit for this project. That's what triggered the certificate of appropriateness. Building department has approved the building permit and associated structural calculations. So they have reviewed the structural calculations to ensure that the solar panels can be supported by the roof. The fire department has approved the building permit. And because there is a building permit, before the permit can be finalized, all the work done by the applicant or SolarGen will be inspected by the city building inspector. The only thing left for the building permit is planning approval, which is contingent on the board's approval of the certificate of appropriateness. And that is all for the presentation, Chair. I will keep the screen up though on the first, just to have it up.
Okay, moving on. Is there any person comments? Anybody signed up to talk about the public hearing itself?
We have no one signed up to talk about it today. But Deanne Kendo, the applicant, would like to speak.
Who would?
The applicant, the owner of the property, would like to speak.
Okay, she is on this?
Yes.
Okay.
So I will. Jean? Do you have anything you would like to say?
Yes, when I spoke to Solgen Power, they said that one of the representatives would be available to talk about all the different intricate things as far as with the solar panels and the details regarding it. Did anybody have any questions for me about the solar panels?
Jean, just so you know, Fabiola is on the line, and she is a representative from SolarGen. But
Oh, perfect. I was unaware. I only can see the board and Christina.
So no other Fabiola was.
So nobody's raised their hands on Zoom.
We had one more Fabiola from SolarGen.
Fabiola.
Hi, my name's Fabiola. You can call me Fabi. But yes, I am representing Solgen today. If you have any questions regarding the solar panels or anything like that, the placement, just let me know. I'm happy to answer as best as I can.
Okay.
Now, the city has approved. Josh, the city has approved going forward with this. Is that what I?
From the building permit side, yes, all the departments have reviewed and approved it except for planning, which is, I need to wait on. I'll have
It's on
approval.
us.
Yep.
Okay. Want to go ahead with some board comments?
Yeah, and I think Christina's ready too.
Okay. Christina, you want to start?
And then we have Councilmember Tristan.
I've got a question. I've got a question for Ms. Carrasco. I was reviewing policies in other jurisdictions regarding historical preservation. And I found, for example, that the Harvard Historical Commission, they recommend, or they don't recommend, but they stipulate that the solar panels on a roof of a historic building should be no more than 3 inches high off of the roof. So I was wondering whether it would be possible to put these panels so that they would conform to the guidelines of other jurisdictions like Harvard.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. From what I understand, the racking systems that we use for the solar panels, unfortunately, they don't go above 8 inches. It's more like 6.5 inches. And that's just because of the racking that they use for those panels specifically. I know that different jurisdictions have different requirements, and we try to fit the criteria as much as we can. But the supplies that we use, unfortunately, just go above the 6-inch line.
Well, it seems that if it's not possible to put them, lower, like it simply is not a suitable, the rackets that you said, I mean, would it be, but it's not possible to use anything else. Since it's a historic building, it probably requires some other kind of equipment, no?
Other equipment, I'm not sure.
Well, so the only question is, it's impossible to make it 11 inches. Is that right? 6.25. What did you say?
Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, it wouldn't be possible to lower them anymore based on the equipment that we have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Carrasco.
Yeah, do you have any questions?
I'm in looking at the drawings, it looks like the panels are set low enough on that side of the roof that they won't be visible from the public right of way. Is that correct?
Correct. You facing the main road, you wouldn't be able to see the solar panels.
Thank you.
Has there been any thoughts of putting the solar panels on the garage roof? Because that's not a protected building.
Yes. So when our people go out and do the site surveys, they do a proposal on what would work best for the customer, energy wise, and what would get them the best usage of their solar panels. Unfortunately, most of the usage that they would get would be from the roof on the house. So they wouldn't benefit as much if the solar panels were on a garage or their shed.
What about a ground installation? I don't mean on the ground, but I mean raised above the ground, say behind the garage or in that area.
Yeah, that would also be an option. Again, when they do the proposals, our proposal team also tries to take that in consideration. Again, it would just be more beneficial for the solar panels to be on the roof.
Hey, Glenn, just for your purposes for this conversation, I did, this is an aerial image from Pierce County that has tree coverage. And so the red's all the trees. And you can see that the back garage here is more blocked than this side. Just as a general comment.
My own
Right.
personal comments. I think that installation of solar panels on the roof is kind of a stretch for a historic building. However, I know the city council would probably, if it was rejected by us, maybe give their approval. Josh, what's your thoughts? I know you,
Well, as I put in the staff report, I recommend the staff recommends approval, mostly because it's hidden. The roof isn't historic. Our primary concerns were making sure that it wasn't damaged to the historic materials of any roof and that it wasn't visible. Now, again, this is the first time we've received this, so we also utilize City of Olympia had some guidelines for how to kind of look at solar roofs, and so we kind of did use theirs as an example of try to how it fit, and that was kind of
they use a similar,
right.
any other comments from the board members?
Christina, and then Councilman Laricella also would like to say something.
If Solgan has some examples of installations that they've already done on historic buildings, because it would be interesting to see how it comes out and if they have experience with this kind of thing.
I know that we have done a couple installations on properties that are in a historic area. I don't have any pulled up at the moment, but I can definitely research that and bring it back to you and show you examples and diagrams and pictures of the actual property. Unfortunately, I just don't have that on hand right now.
Right, I didn't expect you would, but that'd be great if we could see it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that also. You know, I'm not firmly opposed to having it hidden on the back side of the building. It's just, it's a little different from what we normally will go with.
We have council member
Okay,
Laricella,
Paul, did you have any comments?
or not?
No, it's Laricella.
Laricella.
Oh,
Thanks. First, Fabi, thanks for coming to speak on behalf of this, and thanks for doing business in Lakewood. We appreciate it. I had a question about the lifespan of solar panels on the home. How frequently would they have to be maintained or replaced? And is that something that would come back to this group if there was any change to the layout or how they are used on the house?
Yes, so we do I believe it's a 25-year warranty. Any damage, any solar panels that aren't working properly, if any wires are loose or anything, that's something that Solgen would take care of. Obviously, the customer would have to contact us, let us know, but we would regularly check in, make sure everything is up to code, and make sure everything still looks good. If the customer were to add panels or add a ground mount eventually or something like that, yes, we would have to go through the city once again and reapply and make sure everything is up to code again and just start the whole process over.
Okay. And at the end of these panels' life cycle, are they in any way recyclable, or do they just get sort of hauled off to the landfill?
That is a good question. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I would have to get back to you.
Okay. And then the final thing, Josh, I just wanted to thank you for putting together the report. I think that this is a good balance between environmental impact and maintaining our historic legacy with the city. So thank you for doing that.
is there any other further testimony?
I think Christina might have some more.
Right. So as people want to do when they are looking for companies, I looked up Solgan company in the internet to find out what its track record has been, kind of, and the general feeling of its former clients. And if I could possibly
Losing you.
Sorry, we are losing you a little bit here.
can you hear me now? No, you can't hear me? Uh-oh.
We can hear you now.
Okay. I was going to share my screen, but maybe my manipulation of the computer meant that you couldn't hear me. So I'll stop manipulating. I'll stop manipulating the computer. I was going to show you on my, by sharing the screen, I was going to show you the Better Business Bureau report on Solgen. And I don't know if the owner of the property bothered to look around before they chose this company, but it's actually quite disturbing. And, it's not my house and they can pick whoever they want. But since we're kind of responsible in some way for the good condition of this house, and we would like to have somebody really reputable. So if you do look at the Better Business Bureau report, the page on it, it has 3 stars out of 5, but it does have 99 complaints in the last 3 years and 72 complaints just in the last 12 months. I don't know, it has a grade of F on the BBB rating and accreditation. And it does say in red letters, this business is not BBB accredited. So you can look up the reviews in the Better Business Bureau and also in the internet elsewhere. I've put the Better Business Bureau also in a PDF. You can look at the reviews. And when you do, you would really wonder whether you would want to select this company. Now, if it's somebody's private house, I don't care, but the Ainsworth house is part of our heritage here in Lakewood, and I would want only the best for it. So I would ask that the owner of the building reconsider the choice of contractor for this. I know that maybe they gave a good deal, an offer you can't refuse, but really you have to look around and make sure, in the interest of this old house, this historic building, that you do choose the most reputable contractor that you can. And that's all I had to say about that.
Okay, any other final comments before I close the hearing? Hearing none, close the hearing for tonight.
Okay.
Now we have an opportunity for those board members to make their final discussions and vote on a certificate of appropriateness. Christina, you want to start off?
Well, I think, first of all, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay. I think that my general impression is not very good. First of all, because they can't make it any lower than 8 inches. I know that it's hidden behind the roof line, from the street, but still, people don't look at the building only from the street. People who are interested in historic buildings will be looking at it, from all sides. It is open to the public sometimes. And it would be nice if we could hire, or the property owner, of course, could hire a company that would be able to have as low as possible, like the Harvard Historical Commission stipulates, 3 inches, not 6 inches or more. It should be possible, So I don't know what kind of rackets there are or whatever you might need, but perhaps it would be, a good idea to look around. Now, even more concerning than that is the fact that this company simply does not look to be a reputable company from looking in the internet. And, the Better Business Bureau is not just an internet Google review. The Better Business Bureau is, that's where people look. It's got a reputation, and I think that we can trust it. So if it has an F rating, I don't want them to put solar panels on Lakewood's historic building. I just can't vote in favor of this certificate of appropriateness. It just does not sit with me well.
Put me in a position where I'm very torn because I'm not, I don't object to the idea of the solar panels at all. And I'm not super concerned as long as they're not visible from the street, but I am concerned, when I hear issues about a company's reputation and the satisfaction of previous customers, that concerns me, because one of the things that you want when you're having to utilize newer technology on a historic structure is it reversible? And so I don't want so much stuff getting done to that roof that 20 years from now, when there's newer, better, lower profile, whatever available, that there's no historic house left to work with. So that does definitely, give me reason for concern. But in the long run, I think that we have to be willing to accept new technology like that, because the best chance that this house or any other historic structure has of survival is to be continuously occupied and maintained. And if it's not functional and affordable for a family to live in it, then it's not going to be occupied, and then we're going to end up with other issues. So it's like I'm okay with the idea of solar panels in general, but I'm a little bit concerned about the practicalities of this exact application. So that's where I am now, sitting on a fence.
Okay, my comments are very similar to Beth's. I initially was pretty much against modification of historic building. However, I have come to think that it's possible, if the city does not have concerns with that the panels being hidden don't detract, at least from the front perspective of the building. I would be worried about damage in the future. I doubt whether wind damage would be a problem, but water damage on a 170-year-old building might cause some irreparable damage. My tendency is to believe that the city, if they're willing to go ahead with a permit, if they could check the appropriateness of the contractor, and they feel that that's appropriate, I would not have a big concern over that. I've spent many visits to that house, probably over the last 30 years or more. And I know it has had leak damage in the upper floor in the past. Previous owner took care of that, did a great job of getting it repaired. So I would hope, and I do believe that the current owner is part of the family. So I would hope that they're as careful as the previous owner was, and the owner before that. So I am not terribly concerned about putting the solar panels on the roof as long as the city investigates and determines that they're doing a appropriate job. So that's I would go ahead and approve that pending whatever investigation the city does as far as the contract.
For generally, all contractors have to be licensed to the city.
Yeah,
And so that's typically all we've required. We haven't followed much more other than it's licensed and contractor.
yeah.
Because it's always up to individuals to have who they hire, but they just have to be licensed and there's certain requirements with that licensing. So that's as far as we would.
Well, is
Go
there a
with that.
requirement on the owner through the city that they take care of the building with regard to the solar panels, potential damage from the solar panels, that sort of thing?
The only thing I can think of is the normal,
Permit.
right, normal permit inspections. And then if you're thinking about long-term damage, more of when it becomes bad enough that's a nuisance. It's really when, again, the city would get involved.
Yeah.
So in between, city would not really be involved. But I believe that Christina and Councilman Lorsella would like to speak again.
Yes.
Yes, I just want to mention, I forgot that maybe not everybody realizes, but I'm in fact also a very big environmental advocate. So obviously, in general, I am very, very much in favor of solar panels, I mean, depending, I suppose, on the location. So I'm not opposed to solar panels in general, and even on a historic house, of course, it would be preferable if it could be on the garage building. I know that there are trees there, or on the ground. It would be better not to put it on the house itself. So I just want to stress that I'm not only in favor of old houses, I'm also in favor of solar panels. But the other thing I wanted to say was that I forgot that one of my other concerns was actually the structure of the roof. When I have a 1913 house, and I was thinking of, putting a new roof on, and I remember that, I was told that I can't put slate, obviously, on my roof because, of course, it would be too heavy, and my roof, it's a Dutch colonial, so, it's kind of a strange shape. I couldn't do that, which reminds me, so the solar panels are much heavier, I assume, than a traditional wooden shingle or shake roof. So I was wondering, I mean, how does the company, take that into account? I mean, does it have to be, reinforced somehow? Or is that not a concern at all? If it's a modern roof, I don't think it would be that much of a problem, but, an old roof, with only wood on it, I can't imagine that it would be so strong, right? So I was just curious about that as well, but I guess it's too late to ask the representative.
Well, I could respond a little bit to that. The building department reviews the building permit for the roof. So they've actually require structural calculations. So they look at the what the roof load can hold. And so they were provided structural calculations, which were reviewed by the building department, and they've approved them. So under that circumstance, it is assumed that yes, they can hold that based on our professional review.
Without doing anything to the roof.
Well, the structural calculations all include what they're putting on top. So it would include the solar panels that they're putting on.
And the way they're attached.
And
Right.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that it can sustain that way even without reinforcing it or anything.
Right, or they would have to do reinforcement. They have to show that they can, so the roof can support those solar panels.
Okay,
And then, yeah, Councilman Laura Stella.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, so I also looked at the reviews from the Better Business Bureau that Christina mentioned, and it looks like there are some decent ones in there, but most of them are around scheduling, not necessarily around quality and installation. I had a question about as properties are added to the historic registry, are they required to maintain and keep them up in a specific way as part of being registered? So the homeowners, are they now responsible to maintain a certain standard above and beyond the nuisance sort of code requirements in the city?
I don't believe so. Do you know of any requirement from a historical registered part?
No, however, the owner occupier ought
Right.
to be concerned with any degradation if there is some.
I would assume at some point then they would lose that.
Yeah, if it got extreme, they would lose the designation.
And the
However,
tax benefits
Yeah.
with that.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know of any specific requirement for maintenance once listed.
Okay, thank you.
Christina?
yeah, so I don't think that they are solely scheduling matters. I remember one review was particularly memorable. The owner was very upset because in the end, after the installation of these tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, the electricity bill was higher than it was without the solar panels, or something to that extent. In fact, I think I saved that one. So it doesn't matter so much, what the quality, what the complaints were. I mean, I found plenty of them that I wouldn't want to have people with a company like that putting solar panels on my roof. You just in general, you have a jewel of a historic house, and the owner can pick whoever they want. But if the city had to do it, or we as LHAB had to do it, I certainly wouldn't pick a company who has an F, rating in the Better Business Bureau. I mean, there are a variety of reasons why people have complained about them, but it just doesn't reflect well on the company. And I wouldn't want a company like that, dealing with our historic building. I just wouldn't have the confidence in that company. So, and there were complaints not only of a scheduling nature. So,
Okay, thank you, Christina. I didn't have a chance to read all of the complaints, so I'm sure that there are some that I may have missed.
okay, any final comments?
I guess I would add, my only comment I would add is that LHAB has adopted the Secretary of Interior standards of treatment of historic properties. So that's kind of the criteria that is used to make a determination, yes or no, or conditions of approval. Reviewing those, I didn't see specifically anything that would regard to company or how a company is ran or owned or anything regarding that. But it's still up to the board. If the board goes with a no, if they can take it, it wouldn't go to city council, it would be appealed to a hearing examiner. And the hearing examiner would use the same criteria. And there is one more thing I would add. Our code requires a decision within 45 days. Since we had to cancel the one that happened 2 weeks ago, we're coming up on those 45 days. So we couldn't even delay the decision very much longer.
Okay, Christina, did you have any reconsideration of your yay or nay?
No, I don't feel well, giving this a certificate. I mean, I treat the situation as if it were my own house. I have a historic house, and I can't with good conscience, say I approve a certificate of appropriateness if I wouldn't.
Christina, you accidentally muted yourself.
Oops, sorry. I don't know what you missed out on, but I was just saying that, I have to treat it as I would my own house. I have a historic house, and I can't, in good conscience, give my approval for a certificate of appropriateness if I wouldn't do that for my own house. I just wouldn't feel good about it. So I would prefer that some things be reconsidered and maybe a different solution be found.
And Beth, you got any final comments?
Yeah, I'm still firmly on the fence because it's like, there's the whole principle of what they want to do that I don't have an objection to, but I do have a lot of concerns about the specifics of who they want to do it. Because I've been reading also, and it's definitely more than just scheduling complaints that they're getting. They're getting complaints about dealing with leaks and stuff afterward and stuff. And so I would hate for the homeowners to spend a lot of money on something and be disappointed in what they get, and also be in a situation where things aren't really reparable on a historic house. It's like, I don't object to the solar panels in general, but I hope they do some more research.
I think the normal way that's operating from these companies is to put the solar panels up, hopefully give the homeowner a rebate on their energy use. However, that can vary substantially. And I'm not sure if there's any cost to the homeowners or whether they're doing it all in trying to capture electricity. So I am also on the fence. However, I did have a strong objection earlier to that kind of activity on a historic house. However, if the city approves it, I'm sure that the city council would approve it at some point in time. So I'm not firmly objecting to it. I just hope that the process has enough quality to protect the building sufficiently so that it stays in Lakewood for another 100 years, possibly. And I think that'll be my final comment. So Beth is on the fence.
Yeah.
Christina, did you have anything more to say? I saw your hand up.
Well, when Beth was talking about the comments from clients, I just was going to add, there are problems with the roof, and on my roof, I was told that I don't want to do anything that would like make holes in it, and I can't imagine putting, solar panels without like putting holes in it. But also, I just wanted to mention again the problem of the height of the height of the solar panels. I mean, if it is off of the roof, that would be great, right? I mean, we want to make it as minimal an impact on that historic structure and its outline or whatever, however you call it, profile as possible. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe has the homeowner looked at other companies was that even an option? Maybe nobody realized, nobody told her that, it could be 3 instead of 8 or whatever it was. So, if it's possible, I think we should go for it. I mean, if it's a historic building, we should do all we can to minimize the impact. So I think that should also be taken into consideration.
Just as a reminder, because I know we don't get this very much, the certificate of appropriateness and stuff, you can make recommendations or conditions of approval that are tied to it. So if you do a conditions of approval, the applicant can still appeal it, but you can still make that as we're approve it on these conditions.
But what conditions are we really trying to, protecting the buildings, primary concern with all of us on the board. And that's the primary concern that I have, that Beth has, and I think that Christina has also. So can that be part of the?
Yeah, I guess I find myself wondering how much research the homeowner did before they chose this company. Because there are other options out there of different styles of panels and things like that. And I just,
It's probably too late.
Paul, when I ask that question, I'll ask Paul and sorry, Councilman Bochi and Councilman Ursula. Is it possible to reopen the public hearing so that the applicants can give additional information?
I'm not sure. You'd probably have to ask the city manager. He'd have more information on that process.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Paul, do you know?
Yeah, usually, oh, excuse me, I don't know why my video's not. Usually when we have a can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, for some reason, my camera isn't working. Usually when we have a public hearing, we have the lawyer nearby. And certainly when there's planning issues, in the planning commission is the same way. They don't have the lawyer there, but they do have staff. So I'm not sure how to proceed. You've had the public hearing, you closed the public hearing. So I don't know if reopening it right now would be. But are you asking to reopen it, or are you just asking questions, I guess?
Just asking questions? Is that just
I
like to
think-
know more information?
Yeah, we're asking the city to review this to make sure that it's appropriately done by whoever does it. And that the final thing is protecting the building is all of our biggest interest. And if the city comes up and says, we think it's okay,
Mhm.
then I think I, as part of the board, would think it's okay, and Beth can answer hers. Christina.
because I'm inclined to say yes generally, but I just have a concern about the specific contractor. And the whole process that they went through to choose them.
Mhm.
And so,
Okay.
yeah, that's where I am. It's like the general idea of it is fine.
And the city's process includes verifying that they're licensed and bonded by the state, right? So in order for them to
Yeah.
maintain that license and bond, they have certain requirements.
Right. And the building inspector will have to go out and make sure the work was done correctly and didn't damage anything else that needs to be fixed or anything like that during the normal building process. So if we did add a condition about it, them inspecting, they're already going to be inspecting it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what we could add to that.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely helps, from my perspective, to know that somebody is gonna go out there and they're gonna look at it and deal with stuff, because, yeah, I mean, it's a 100-and-something-year-old house. It's gonna have issues. Nothing's level or plumb.
Right.
They're gonna find all sorts of things from previous remodels and everything else, so we know it's gonna be not necessarily straightforward. It's not like you're doing a house that was built in 1985. So.
Yeah.
Inspector's gotta do a good job.
Ready to conclude? Do you have,
Well, I need a vote on something.
But I've got one more comment to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's only slightly reassuring, Mr. Kubica, if you say that the inspector comes after the work has been done. So if we have somebody who's bonded and licensed by the state of Washington, but they have an F in the Better Business Bureau ratings and a slew of bad reviews, I mean, it doesn't really do much good to have something inspected after some damage has been done. As some of the reviews say, there's damage to the roof or whatever else we might find when we go through all those 99, reviews in the last complaints in the last 3 years. So, I mean, I would prefer to have somebody choose somebody in whom we have confidence first, rather than have a company we're not really comfortable with going to do the work and then inspecting after to discover damage. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, in the long run, though, we do have to keep in mind that it is the owner's responsibility to do that pre-work. And sometimes we just have to live with the choices that they make, but because it's not our house, however it is.
Absolutely true. It's not our house, but it's part of Lakewood's historical heritage. So we have to suggest at least that, maybe somebody should reconsider the choice.
So we need to have a vote, yes, no, or put it on hold pending some request from me or you can approve it with conditions, recommend conditions of approval, approve it, you can deny it, or you can hold off the decision to a later date. But we are running into that 45-day timeline fast.
Yeah.
Need a vote.
Yes, a vote would be.
Well, I wouldn't mind approving it if it's as low a profile as possible and if it's with a reputable company. I'm not opposed.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to condition the reputation part. You could condition the height at a certain height. I'm not sure. That'd be up to the board to decide what height that would be.
well, it's not in the historical preservation manual or anything to do with solar panels, I would assume.
Right. I didn't see anything specifically with height other than,
Someday they
not
probably will be, but
right,
Well,
we can always mount them on the Conestoga wagon.
right.
well, I think, this is one of those things where it will continue to improve over time. And so what they're putting up there now may not be what's there in 10 years or 25 years when the warranty runs out.
Well, any change to the exterior will come
Yeah,
back
and
to
they'll have
us.
to come back to us when
Yes,
they're gonna make a
and-
change,
right.
so, yeah.
Okay, so Christina, you're still a no, or you're on the fence like the rest of us?
Well, I'm not a no as far as the panels themselves go. As I said before, I'm a no as to the appropriateness of the company and the appropriateness of the height. Although I realize that we can't dictate to the owner, who the person chooses as a company, but we can make a suggestion. I don't know. Perhaps the owner didn't even realize. I don't know. Maybe we should delay and discuss and come back to it in a week or 10 days.
I don't know that we have that much time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
and-
think, maybe, what we can do is, maybe make a request for them to see if they can, research like a more low profile panel and see what happens that way. Cause yeah, I mean, a lower profile would be better and that might get them to look at some other options also.
Right, that's very good. I mean, yes, a lower profile because 8 inches is more than twice than 3 inches, right? So, I mean, it should be possible.
Yeah, just, there's different companies out there and it's all a matter of what's available where you are. And so they're just, and I don't know, I haven't done the research, so I don't know if there's people who have 3-inch high panels available in Western Washington. They might be an East Coasty thing, I don't know.
I'm just looking at how many days we're in.
Yeah, how much time do we have?
Now, if we go ahead and approve,
Well,
With the condition,
however, with our concerns noted,
we're at 45 days.
is that
I'm leaning more yes
yeah,
than no. Because
and I'll
I
go
just-
with a yes also. However, we need to look at this in the future for potential problems so that the next time something like this comes up, we're a little bit smarter.
And this, be very much discussion in future meetings too, to come up with
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
materials, designs, thoughts, and
Mhm.
at least give you guys space to think about it
Yeah,
differently.
Okay.
so are you gonna call for a vote?
Yeah, can we go ahead and have a vote? All those in favor of approval,
You have to make a
Say
motion
aye.
first.
Yeah, yeah,
we
be a
gotta make
motion.
motion.
You have to make a
Okay.
motion first.
go ahead.
All right, I move that we take a vote for the certificate of appropriateness for solar panels at the Bowden Ainsworth House.
That's not really a motion.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
The
What do we need
motion
to
is
move?
usually when you say what you're going to do.
So
Right.
approving it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the motion would be approving.
Okay, so
for
then
your-
I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness for Bowden Ainsworth solar panels.
Christina, did you want a second?
I can second that.
All right. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay,
Nay.
2-1. That approved?
Yes,
It's a condition passed.
Well,
Yeah.
just note our concerns.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
argued for a good hour,
Yeah.
and
almost an hour. And so we still have concerns, however, we got an approval. I know I looked to the city to protect the property
Mhm.
as much as realistic.
right,
And we'll know more the next time we have to do something like this.
Send your best inspector.
well,
I have a motion to close the meeting or did?
no, we got,
some
yeah,
more.
we got some,
We got some more.
More stuff
items.
to do.
We'll
We
go
better,
through them.
better do it. Getting late.
Okay, the touring map update. We haven't gotten any more additions to the map, and we haven't gotten any updates to the map yet.
So I did send it off last week. And they say about 2 weeks to get them all made.
Okay,
I did want to note that I had to make a change though outside of what was already made. The Munson House was a new National Register, Washington Historic Register listed house starting in 2019. And so I just quickly pulled some stuff from their materials and put it on here. But I'm hoping the board will review it once we get the
okay.
draft off to make sure it's how you want it.
And what's it replacing?
It isn't it, well, it'd be,
It's an addition.
so originally we had to take off the I can't remember the name of the
Hopkins House.
yeah, Hopkins House. So that was number 30. So I went, and it's actually almost across the street from each other. So I just
Oh.
replaced that number. I'm having them move the marker over to where the new registered
Okay,
property is.
That's a good
okay, yeah,
And good
choice.
yeah, I think that's a very good choice.
So the board might also want to have someone reach out to them, see if they're interested in Landmark now that they're a new registered
Yeah, since
property.
they're national and a Washington.
Yeah.
Why not be Lakewood?
And the Hopkins House may be interested in a community designation.
Something
Or
that-
maybe they're ready for
And so
designation.
Yeah, who knows?
Once
we
they
have
got their
some
law.
template letters made previously for sending out to potential landmark properties. So we can put that together too for
We don't want to sound stalkerish, but
right.
yeah,
Right.
it's like, hey, we noticed that you're on the National Register. Would you like to be on Lakewood?
Notice anything else listed on the National Register
Comes with it.
that wasn't already included. So that.
One thing I'm concerned with is the activity that the city is doing in Fort Steilacoom Park.
Mhm.
The Fort Steilacoom Park side of the road,
Yes.
because there were historic buildings. The guardhouse that Leshai was in was
Mhm.
on that side of the road. The laundry and various other and also I think some barracks buildings. But they've already removed a lot of the dirt. And moved it over by the Red Barn, which I wasn't too happy with.
Is that north of the road or south of the road?
South of
In
the
the
road,
park side?
yeah,
Okay, yes, they're putting in,
because they're ball fields.
yes, they're replacing the ball field.
Scrape the ground off.
Mhm.
I know there was scads of relics,
So,
glass, metal, whatever is there, and of course it's lost now because it's been scraped off and moved, and they're gonna do more.
so they have a cultural report that was done with that as part of the SEPA process. So the ball fields, when they I'm not sure if it's still done yet or not, but they've had to go through SEPA review, which has a component to it, and they did have,
You have a copy of that?
yes.
Don't have it yet, right?
I don't know if
When-
it's
when
been
you get
issued
it.
yet or not, but we have the cultural report and we have their SEPA checklist.
Okay.
I don't know if it's been issued, the SEPA determination that's been issued,
Yeah,
so. But yeah, we can, if they have it, we can,
well, I'd be interested in seeing what they say, because I spent a lot of time the length of that field trying to recover artifacts, and then they moved their ditch
Yeah.
20 feet over.
Like the sewer or whatever.
into an undug
right,
area, or an area that wasn't surveyed.
Yeah.
Okay. Old Settler Cemetery.
yeah, Christina, you were interested in the Old Settlers, so I did get some more information that it is currently owned and operated by Pierce County Parks. But that the city is interested, particularly the Parks Department, interested in taking over from Pierce County Parks. But it's ongoing, and it's just at the initial stages. And we don't have any additional information for you on that yet.
Oh, thank you very much for looking into that.
Is there any word on the Masonic Cemetery, which is not too down the road?
I haven't heard.
I don't know who owns it. It's, I don't believe maintained. There's a lot of graves out there. I don't know if Masonic still does anything there or it's just abandoned. So that might be a question you
Okay.
can find out.
Yeah, I can see if I can look into that. It's not listed as one of the city's landmarks,
Yeah,
but the Old Settlers is listed as a city landmark, but I will look into.
Yeah.
See if there was any information on that.
okay, and then they'll have work plan and historic preservation grant.
Yeah, the big item we've been working on has been the touring map. That's getting closer to being the end. So moving on to the next items in our work plan. And just as a reminder, if they're interested in trying to pursue any grant opportunities, Pierce County does it in the fall. So coming up with ideas for that now, and so we're prepared for it in the fall would be best. So it's just as a reminder that the board should start thinking about potential ideas.
Now, the next meeting we should have a draft of the touring map
Yes.
to make a final review. Is that gonna be a review in here or another month to?
I'm gonna kind of do the similar process where I'm gonna email or be part of the agenda where it's gonna be mailed to everyone to comment if they want to do it that way.
Okay.
But in the meeting, we can also have set aside time to do it. It's just hard if people are zooming in to
Yeah,
be part of that discussion. So that's why I like to send it both. So that if they want to provide the electronic comments, they can that way too.
be best to review it on our own and then come together. And
Yes, exactly.
say whatever our comments are or changes and finalize.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr.
Any
Kubica,
new business?
could you possibly send us the call for proposals for the grant, the Pierce County grant? Because I'm not quite sure what they're looking for, what kind of grants, what kind of projects that would be.
They don't typically put it out till late in the, or sorry, early fall and give you about a month or two to look at it. Since we only meet once a month, sometimes they can be missed. So I can look at providing you what they have done in the past.
Right, it's not the same thing every year.
I believe it's
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay. Councilman Dolce?
I can speak to that a little bit because I have worked with that program in the past, and the grant program actually covers a lot of different items. And if you look through the years, there's structural things for different properties that are owned by either government or by historical societies. Roof replacement of some historical buildings is there's been document preservation on a number of items that's kind of picked up over the last few years. There's been more requests for document preservation. In the past, for Lakewood, I think the rocks, the stones, the historical markers that have been put at some of the homes and in some areas around the city, I think that was either partially paid for by that program. And I believe the historical road signs, the brown ones, were also paid for by that program.
That's true.
And any historical group can do it. You're certainly able to do that. Lakewood Historical Society could also make an application. Stillicum Historical Society almost has one in every year that they win. And the grants run in that range of $10,000 or so. The committee itself is appointed. Actually, it wouldn't hurt if any of you tried to get on that committee too. when those things become available. I don't know where they hold their meetings at. But it tends to gather historical people, hopefully from around the whole county and not just from the Tacoma area, to help make those kind of things. There's that committee, by the way, also has other responsibilities outside of just handing the money out every year. But the money comes, it's a portion of a document recording fee that comes out every year. So it's a good program. It's done a lot of valuable things.
Thanks, Councilmember Bucky.
Yeah, I've been to a number of those meetings and they were at the annex near Costco.
Okay,
So. Okay,
next meeting.
no new business tonight. Next meeting. You wanted to postpone unless.
Yeah, we don't have anything kind of scheduled for the next meeting, since we had it today. We won't have the map back.
So
Um,
June 22nd.
yeah,
will
so
be the next
June
day.
22nd will be the full meeting. If something comes up, we can always schedule a special meeting like we're doing tonight.
6/22 in June.
Any other comments or questions for tonight? We have a
Move to adjourn.
move to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn our meeting.
I'll second it.
All right.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Oh,
Okay,
I don't know.
we are adjourned.
yes, aye.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
The recording has stopped. Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.